All right, members of Step Up World, good evening. How is everybody? Paul, are you able to record? I hope so.
Yep, recording now.
Okay, cool. Members of Step Up World, how incredible are you this evening? Who made it? Who made it to this launch of Paul's new baby? Paul Kavuma, you are such an early bird. Fiona, Simon. Hi guys, how is everybody? How is the evening? I am so excited to be bringing to you our brand new author who is also my new friend, Paul Haber. Before I bring Paul to the floor, I would like to bring you his bio. Paul is trained as a computer engineer who spent over 20 years at the leading aerospace and defense company developing safety critical embedded computer systems. Wow, Paul, that's so complicated. The challenges have been less technical and more battling between opposing forces of complacency and perfectionism. Paul has a Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science, Computer Engineering from the South Dokata School of Mines and Technology. He has a Master's of Systems Engineering from Iowa State University and an MBA from Jack Roach Management Institute at Strayer University. Killing Complacency represents postdoctoral dissertation from the Drive Time University School of Motivation. Paul, you almost make me feel uneducated. Welcome to Step Up World, and I'm so honored to have you, Paul.
Hey, Prima, it's really great to be here, and it's really wonderful to be able to share my message with not just you, but your audience, and really being able to grow the movement and being able to share that with so many other people.
It's really exciting for me to have you. It's exciting for me to be a part of the people that take your book out there to the world. And I know it's your new baby. I know you're super excited, and I'm excited on your behalf. We have several people who have joined in just to catch Paul. So let me just hop on Step Up and just recognize them. I see Melissa D joined. I see Fiona. I see Paul. Guys, welcome. Thank you for coming in and for supporting Paul. I know that more people will be joining as we go on. And Paul, I am so excited to have you. So the order we are going to do today is I'm going to have Paul answer a few questions, but mostly it's about his book, which he's created. And hopefully when it gets in your hands, that this will transform your life in way very many things. So I will be asking Paul questions based on what I have understood from the work that he's doing. And he has news for you about the versions of the book that are available that I don't want to rob from him. He's supposed to tell you that. But as we go along, if you feel like you have a question for Paul, I would like you to put that in the chat, because the last 15 minutes are dedicated to Q&A from Paul. So if you want to love on Paul, if you want to congratulate Paul, if you want to ask Paul anything about the book that he created, I would love for you to put that in the chat. At some point, I will hop onto the chat and I will answer each and every question. I'm excited for all of you being around, and let's get to Paul. Paul, where should we begin from? Why don't you tell me the story that got this book to be birthed?
Well, Prima, I really didn't start out to write a book. I had just finished my MBA program. It had been a lot of effort on my part, and I was ready to be done. But then as I had been reading and listening to various books, I wanted to start putting some of those ideas together, things that maybe other people hadn't put together previously or that I hadn't seen together before. And so I started building that a little bit, did a little Bible study for some guys at church, and was really trying to write up a little bit more of my philosophy and how all these pieces fit together that I had been learning recently. And I tried writing 2 or 3 or 4 pages, and it was really just like an introduction, just a starting point. And so I'm like, well, I'll outline it a little bit and see what that turns into. And before long, I had a little break from work, had some vacation here at home, and just spent some time in the office working through things and trying to understand how the different pieces of my philosophy fit together, and how everything that I've been learning fit together. And I'm like, wow, this is really something that could help others and could help the world. And so that at that point I said, all right, I'm going to really focus on making an actual book out of what I'd been putting together.
Wow. I would now like to dive into the book a little bit and ask you personal questions based on what you wrote. You have a different angle to passion and purpose. I would like you to speak more to that. You have just a different angle from the world of what passion and purpose looks like. Would you be willing to speak to that?
Sure. And I think one of the most famous examples of saying to follow your passion was Steve Jobs. But when we look at what he actually did, he developed a passion for computers and a passion for developing Apple and those products. But it wasn't his original passion. It wasn't the thing that he was originally really excited about. He was excited about Buddhism and history and calligraphy and other stuff like that. And so the truth is he followed a passion that also had some revenue attached to it and that he could benefit from. And so many people just think, I'm going to follow this passion, whether it pays or not. But Steve Jobs, who's probably most famous for talking about passion, had something that, it wasn't just, I'm following my passion. I'm following a passion that's profitable.
Okay. Passion and okay, that makes sense, because I've been wondering, you just have a different way you kind of speak about that. I would like you to speak about resurrecting ambition. You have a subtitle where you write about that, like resurrecting ambition. What happened to the ambition and how are we resurrecting it exactly? Do you have like steps? Do you have like, how do you handle that part of what you wrote? Because it's a part of what you have in the book.
Right. And I think there are two things that can really stifle ambition. And one is external. And I don't know about society in your part of the world, but in my part, there are pockets where people kind of look down on ambition and they don't see the benefit of being ambitious. And some of that comes from people that were overly ambitious and had sort of an irresponsible ambition that trampled on other people or would lie and cheat and steal and do all the things that hurt others, versus having a more responsible ambition to help others in a way that is profitable. And so just kind of that difference between the two ideas, I think, is important, because it is important to have ambition. It is important to be able to help others in a way that's profitable. And then the other part of that is just kind of the mindset that people can get into in terms of having envy of others, feeling greed, things like that, where if you're envious of someone else, it causes a mindset that says, well, they don't deserve it. And it puts that seed in your mind, something called, I'm not going to remember the term, but it puts that seed in the mind of conflict of, well, if they don't deserve it, then maybe I don't deserve it. And the better answer is, instead of being envious of someone else that has more, thinking about how is it that I can achieve something similar, that I can have the benefit that I need and to be able to accomplish something. And so really it's that getting past the envy of others and looking for, what is it that I can do? How can I provide benefit to the world in a way that benefits me as well?
Okay, from that, there is something that I have heard that says, when you are in the scarcity mindset, that you think the success of others is a threat to your own success. So is that your way of saying, when you get into the abundant mindset, then guess what? If he succeeds, you succeed. It doesn't mean that anybody succeeding will get you less lucky to succeed. Would I be right to say that, or would you like to talk to something like that? Why do you think people would be envious of others when they succeed anyway?
Right, and you're exactly right. It's that limited mindset of someone else's success is my failure, but really my success can lead to the success of others. And I think it's important to build on the success of others and to be a part of something successful rather than envying something successful. And one of the things I write about is the abundance of this world. There is so much abundance out there. There's no limit to money or material goods. It's a limit to ingenuity and ability to make that happen, or to provide the value in order to receive the money that should come back as a result of that.
Okay. You speak about ambition in your book, a little bit about ambition, and then there is what you call irresistible ambition and what you call responsible ambition. And I'd like you to break it down for us, because when I look at it, it looks a little bit of expert words. What do you mean with all this?
Right. So irresponsible ambition is that ambition that drives a person to hurt others or to try to extract value when they're not providing value, to get money or something for nothing, right? And it doesn't work that way. You can't give nothing and get something and have that be sustainable. But if you're willing to help produce value, and really that's the responsible ambition side of it, is figuring out how to produce value for others so that you can receive a portion of the value in return, and having that fair exchange of you provide value and you get value in return.
Okay. Are you saying the people that we call takers, people who just want to take? So are you saying, okay, before you take, go giving value, so that when you are going to take, you're taking from where you've actually planted. That don't go taking before you give, because that is not good. People don't like that.
Right.
Am I right to say like that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And one of the books I've been looking at a little bit, he talks about providing value in excess of the paycheck or the return that you get. So if you spend a few hours working for someone, they should pay you less than the value of what you produce during that time, so that they can build their business, or take care of the overhead of the business. So it's not, well, I'm a plumber and someone pays the office $60 and I get $30. That it may seem unfair, but the fairness is that there's all the overhead of running a business. There's all the other things that have to happen. And so if there's a reasonable level of value produced and then a reasonable return on that's all that's expectable and part of the process. And so, so many people just, they want the free lunch, they want the something for nothing. And by providing value, you can actually get something for something.
Okay, from what I'm hearing, so am I right to assume that irresponsible ambition is you want quick gains, but you're not really providing value? You want money, but you're not really serving your client. You're not doing the work, but you want the benefit. That's, you're ambitious, but you are irresponsibly ambitious.
Yep.
And what you are saying is, when you are responsibly ambitious, you're actually purposely giving value. Like, you're writing a book, you're serving people, you're coming on here and actually speaking into people. So it won't be a miracle when people buy from you, when people work with you. It won't be an error. It is because you have been purposefully ambitious. Am I right to say that, Paul?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay, let's go back to your book. And what is the one reason you think that people should really get to complacency and read it? And why complacency? There's like 1,000 names you could have called it. Why complacency? And what's your definition of what people should look up for this book for? Like, what's in the mind, what's in the mind of the author when you stood there and said, I want to call it killing complacency. We are not yet dead with complacency. We are moving around on the roads with complacency. So why do you think we should kill it? So what's the one thing, I guess, that the person buying your book should be looking to gain at the end?
So there are a lot of people that talk about the goodness of being content, and being there's an aspect of contentment that's appropriate, and understanding the, if you will, the hand you've been dealt, to use a card game term, or just the way that you've been made, and understanding that there's not, you can't change everything about that. You can't suddenly grow 6 inches if you want to be a basketball player, or suddenly become 85 pounds if you want to decided you want to become a horse jockey or something. And there are absolutely things that you can't change, and contentment accepts that. But when you take contentment too far and you allow that, the idea of the fixed mindset to take over in your life, then you're really sliding into complacency. And complacency is just, in my mind, in many ways, it's contentment gone awry. Instead of being content and understanding your limitations, or the circumstances you have, and working through that, you become complacent. And by killing complacency, you decide to really to use the growth mindset, and to say, I may not be able to become the next the next world-class soccer star, but if I want to be good at soccer, I can get better. If I want to be good at writing, or good at speaking, or whatever thing that would provide value to the world, that opportunity is available. And as people, we have so many opportunities and capabilities to grow, that we also have a responsibility to say, how do I want to grow? Which direction do I want to grow into? And what's the result that I want? And really, it's important to see that opportunity for growth. And I think so many people feel like they're stuck, like they don't have the opportunity for growth, when the reality is it's all in their mind. They need to take some action. They need to do some work. And by going through the process of deciding on a direction, and then also putting in the work of deliberate practice, and becoming better at what they're doing, or want to do, then they're able to accomplish more. And that's really my hope for the world, is that people don't settle for average, that we actually move what average means, and get people to accept the responsibilities that they have, and to really push forward, and use all the gifts that they have, and the opportunities they have to improve.
Oh, that's great, Paul. Paul, is your journey the customer journey? Have you gone through this journey that made you think, oh, I think I'm being complacent? Or is it something that you just went out to write about because you just had genuine concern for it?
I think there may have been a little complacency in my life, and I've been challenged with it, but much more I've been dealing with those around me who are complacent. And as you read in the bio a little bit, there are some engineers that I work with who they want absolute perfection, and that can be tough as well. There needs to be a decision on what's an acceptable level of quality, what is good enough. And then I guess the other side of that is challenging the conventional thinking, not necessarily doing things the way we've always done them, but looking at how we can do them differently and better. And that's the real challenge I see in the world. And how can we do things differently? How can we do them better? And early in my career, I was a part of a group called Lean Electronics, and we were trying to apply the Toyota production system to what we were doing in our own factory and our development processes. And so part of that is overcoming the complacency of we've always done it that way, and instead saying, well, here's a better way. Here's new technology, new techniques, or just a different way of thinking about things that will help us to achieve even better results.
Okay. I feel like people that are not complacent, I think I'm one of those people that kind of doesn't like settling for average. And what happens is I end up being the person that asks for too much from people that are okay with average. So where do you draw the line between being a perfectionist? Like, I think I'm always holding people to a better standard or a higher standard than they want to hold themselves accountable for. So where do you draw the line of, okay, now we are settling, now we are out of complacency, and now we're really getting people to a level that is uncomfortable? Is there like a line? Is there like a fine line for that?
So one of the things I write about a little bit is a process called deliberate practice. And
Okay.
it's not my term, it's someone else's, but from the concept, it's the practice of someone, say, learning piano or learning how to play a sport or something like that. You start off with something simple, a really easy song to play, and then you work your way up to something that's more and more challenging until suddenly you're at one point you may actually be able to play classical music that's super challenging and hard to play. And it's that continually pulling people just beyond their comfort zone. And yeah, once in a while it's okay to be comfortable, but the way to get growth is to continually just pull someone just a little beyond their comfort zone. So and if you pull them too far, they panic or they get worried. And so you don't want to try to pull someone too far into something that they can't do. But you also want to pull them just a little farther than what they're actually currently capable of.
Okay. In your book, I couldn't understand when complacency is dead, when you are saying, I hold myself to more, I want to do more, I want to achieve more, I don't want to be average. When that is dead, then what? What is the next step when the person you've written the book for says, yes, I think now I'm no longer complacent. I think I want more for my life. I think I want to push myself more to a higher standard. When they're there and they don't have to be complacent anymore, then what? What's the next step for them?
Then I think the thing is to move to, and even to get out of complacency, one thing to do is to choose on a definite major purpose. And that's not to say that any, like we talked about earlier, some people are like, well, I need this great grand purpose. I want to, take people to Mars, or, lead this, organization, or, what have you. And, it's not, your purpose doesn't have to be that big, and it's certainly not going to start out that big. And so if you're just getting started, you can say, hey, my purpose is to, in your case, share the message of other people with the world, and introduce people the way you are to interesting new books and people they maybe wouldn't have met otherwise. And then as you grow, you can get more focused. You can get into things that really make you feel better. But so often we feel bad about having a purpose that's maybe not the one that makes the headlines or gets the attention. And so having that purpose and figuring out what the next waypoint is, what's the next step in the journey. And it's hard to know where you want to end up, but it's much easier to say, hey, in 1 year I want to accomplish this, or in 2 years or 5 years I want to accomplish something. And just choosing that next waypoint, having a purpose behind it, and having that decision there helps make the other decision making easier. And when you have the opportunity to choose between things that are good or things that are actually beneficial and moving towards your purpose, you can choose the things that move you towards your purpose, even if something else that is good isn't, something that's not bad to do, but it's not moving you towards that purpose. And so you can make those decisions more clearly by choosing that purpose.
Yeah, Paul, when you speak about purpose, then I'm thinking, because purpose keeps revolving. I woke up one day and decided I'm done with jobs. This is not me. I'm quitting. I quit. But quite honestly, I didn't know why I quit. I just didn't feel good having a job. Then I started styling men. And I woke up one day and said, yes, I want to style men, but I want to do more. And now I'm about to step into a space where I help women understand men. And as I go along, other ideas may come up. What I'm really getting from you is you don't have to figure it out from the start, because until you start doing what you can do, your purpose may never get clearer for you. So I really love that point, because oftentimes people are stuck. When people stop being complacent, then they start to say, I want more. Who am I? I want my purpose. I want my mission. And that can be a whole lot of drag, because suddenly you're focused on your why, you're focused on your mission, and you're not allowing yourself to do something that just feels good, that you just think, well, I'm skilled to do this. I feel fulfillment in doing this. Maybe I should push it a little further and see where it heads. Like, I really like that you spoke like that. So are you saying it's okay to meander along the way to your purpose?
Yeah, I think your purpose doesn't just show up one morning and drop in your lap.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was governor of California for a while. He started off his goal, and the thing I guess he felt was his purpose in life was to become Mr. Universe, and he wanted to be a bodybuilder and have that strong physique. And he moved from that to acting to marrying into a political family, and he had a lot of business dealings on the side in addition to all of the movie work that he did and things like that. So he built a kind of a level of skill and notoriety that allowed him to move into that role of governor. And I think he's a great modern example of kind of working your way through different purposes and what's your purpose for today and what gets you excited today versus tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really, people need to give themselves permission to do what they are able to do now, in their ability now, because until you're doing that, your purpose there won't be a celebration saying, hey, your purpose, boom, on your lap. No, it's not going to happen. And until you figure out a few things, until you try a few things, that clarity won't come.
Right.
Yeah, that's a big point that I really love. Like, I really love for you to cement this in people's heads. Like, let people not be stuck on purpose, on why. Let them just do what feels right in the moment.
Well, and I don't know what things are like where you are, but in America, a lot of kids grow up playing sports or being learning music and doing things like that. And those are things where it's easy to feel progress and easy to see progression from having no skill to being reasonably good at something. And a lot of those things are, when you get really, really good at it or really popular at doing it, you can make a lot of money. But then there are a lot of people trying to compete for that. And it's really tough to be able to get into that job where you can make the large amounts of money. And so there are so many opportunities outside of sports and music that I think people need to look at and think about, well, I can help someone in this way or that way, in a way that's profitable and provides a return. And really, we're all here to help one another. And if we look at our decisions in that way, then we're able to say, okay, I want to help people in this way. And by doing so, I expect to be able to make a decent profit and be able to benefit from it.
That makes total sense. But you also speak about definite purpose, having a definite purpose. Would you like to speak to that? Because in as much as you're following your heart and doing things that change lives, you've got to have a definite purpose of where you're going and maybe a plan of how you're getting there. Would you like to speak to that, Paul?
Yeah. So if you just start moving, you may not hit your destination. You may not get to that end goal that you want. And so before taking action,
Mm-hmm.
spend a little bit of time figuring out what that definite purpose is. And don't do it to the degree where you get paralysis by analysis, but do it enough to think about it and consider it, so that as you take action, you're moving towards that purpose and doing things that align with it.
Oh. What would you say about purpose and values? Purpose, values, then how that really relates to the person you are, like core, and that how that relates to maybe your skill set. What's the fine line in between that? Like how do people start to think, oh, I think that's my purpose? Or because I have spoken to people that really don't know anything about purpose. And what do you mean purpose? I just want to put food on the table for my family. And I'm like, yes, but in as much as that can be the reason why you wake up every day, maybe you may need to think clearly why you really want to make money. A friend of mine told me today that they just want to make 5,000 per month. And I said, why do you want to make 5,000 per month? And they said, to pay my bills. And I said, well, after paying your bills, then what? And then he said, then I'll feel successful, then I'll sleep better. Then I said, but what's the reason why you want all of that? So I feel like it's important to have like the real push and the real reason you're doing things, because maybe that is like, that's going to be your momentum all of the time. Do you have an idea like that, like of how people can begin to think, maybe that is the reason I wake up every day? Other than making money, really, because making money won't cut it through the time.
Right. And, it's easy to get addicted, get addicted to the money of a certain job. But unless it's doing something that really makes you come alive and willing to put in that extra effort, I know a lot of people that they'll work their 8 hours a day and that's it. And that's all they do. And I'm sure they provide some value to their employer, but they're not excited about it. They don't put forth that extra effort to really be able to help others in a way that's good for them and good for the world. I think that as people figure out what their purpose is, they can get excited about it. And it's not always the things that make the headlines that the world celebrates that people can get excited about. And just being able to get excited to do a good job and to continue to learn and grow. And if it's something that you're willing to continue to learn and grow in, then that provides an ability to continue to get better and better at it, and to be able to make more money as time goes by.
I'm getting a lot of things up. I'm actually coming up with questions that I didn't even know I would ask you. You write about success. You write deep about success. So before we even get into success, I'm just curious, what does success look like to Paul? Because I think everyone has a different definition of success, and you really write a lot about success. So I'm curious, what would success look like to Paul? Like, what is that for you, Paul?
So I think I've been reasonably successful in my day job. Being able to be successful as an author would mean that I'm able to write and speak and to do things like this more frequently and maybe a little more full time, but then be able to do that from anywhere in the world and be able to go on a trip to speak somewhere, or to just relax a little bit and work on the next thing, but kind of building up to some location independence and being able to work wherever I am versus being tied down to a specific location and things like that. But that's really longer term. And, right now I'm just focused on being able to share my message with other people so that they can benefit from it.
And according to you, can anybody be successful?
I think so, but it takes work. And if you're not willing to put in the work, then you won't be able to get better at what you do. And it's really that deliberate practice I talk about, and having it focused in a certain direction, right? And being able to focus your energy and do it in a way that is aligned with your purpose, instead of just spreading your energy out all over the place.
After you answering your question, I'm just curious. Oh, members of Stay Pop World, why don't we put in the charts what success means to each of us? Like, really, what is success to you? My definition of success is if my footprint in this world has to mean something. If I meet somebody and live their life better, I will consider myself successful. My definition of success has nothing to do with my bank account, but how many lives I have touched, how many people I have left better, how many people I have helped with my experience in what I have gone through. I'm just curious with, if you're on the live call, what does success look like to you? I would be happy to read what you write, and anybody else can be able to go through and actually just understand what success means to you. Paul, I would like for you to talk to the point that I have heard you speak about, deserving success. What does that mean? Can you break it down for us?
So it goes back to something we talked about earlier, providing value for value, and being able to do it in a way that provides profit for you and gives the other person more value. They receive more value than they give back to you. And we see that in just basic commerce, where someone buys something because they need the something more than they need the money. And so being able to work and provide value to others in a way that gets a return for that time and effort that you put in is the way to be deserving of the success, and to be deserving of earning something. But then, as we've talked about, there's the idea of the definite purpose, right? You can't provide value just by existing, or just doing things that take no no real talent or no training. And so by becoming good at something that's rare and valuable, then you're able to provide that value in a way that other people can't, or that few others can. And the route to being able to provide value in that way goes through deliberate practice.
Yeah, totally makes sense. What I get from you is you would like to say be so valuable that people will want to pay you for that. Provide so much value that people will want to work with you. And what you are saying is that you need to rise to the occasion where you can be the person that provides real, authentic value. That when somebody pays you, they feel like they've underpaid you. Is that what deserving of success? Because I have met some people and they gave me so much value that it doesn't matter what I paid, I felt like they overserved me. So is that
Right.
what you mean when you say be deserving of success?
Absolutely. And being able to give someone so much more than in value than what it costs you to give them, or that they're paying you. And I think a lot of people think about the price of something should be its cost plus some markup so that you can make some money. But one of the things that I learned early on in my career in that lean experience I talked about was, what's something worth? What's its value? And then how can you minimize the amount of cost that it takes to produce it? And then anything that's left over is profit. And so being able to provide a lot of value at a low cost, and not overcharging, if you will, but providing value at a low price, and then being able to benefit from that is I think important.
You know, I had a conversation with one of my customers this morning, and he said, you know, Prim, I don't really care what you charge. I care how much value comes with that. So for him, he said there's nothing like expensive. It depends on what value am I getting. I might have $100 and something is expensive for $100, but I will move across the street and pay 10,000 for something. So
Right.
he said expensive or cheap is relevant, but in the end, what people really care about is how much value you bring to the table. Because I have seen coaches that charge 5,000 and I have seen coaches that pay 50,000 and the line is the same. People want the 50,000 package and other people want the 5,000 package. But when you buy the 50,000 package, you feel like you just got 100,000. So
Right.
when you say deserving of success and really being generous with what you do, that's something that I really love. Like I really love that. And I would like you to speak to the part where people think, oh, I've got to own my own business to be that successful. Could you provide the same value in a job?
I think so. There are a lot of people that provide a lot of value in their job, and sometimes it's better to work for a small company or one that really recognizes being able to provide a lot of value in a certain role. I think one of the great examples of where people maybe don't appreciate how extreme value can become is a celebrity or a sports athlete star, where their value is not in what they do in the sense of, well, they spend a few hours playing a game or they practice and then they're able to play a decent game. Their value is in being able to bring in a big crowd and bring in audience and people willing to pay for the experience of watching them. And so that's really kind of the extreme of how can you provide absolutely the most value, and being able to provide a lot of value even though it's just playing a game is something that the star athletes are good at.
Yeah. You also talk about having enough resources for everyone to be successful. You say in this world, there's resources for everybody to be successful. And I would just like you to expound on that, because the scarcity mindset is real. It's real. It's real. I have seen it and I keep thinking there is enough customers for all of us. There's enough money for all of us. So let's not play this game. I would like you to speak to that, because I have seen, especially when you're in the same industry, people think when you have clients, they don't. And I kind of disagree. I would like you to speak to the point where you say there is enough for all of us to be successful.
So part of the idea came from a book called Abundance that Bill Gates recommended. And in it, it talks about how at one point, aluminum was so rare, it was incredibly valuable because no one knew how to extract it from the earth and produce it and be able to provide it to other people. But eventually, people figured out how to get aluminum, and it's one of the most abundant substances on the earth, and they figured out how to produce it so cheaply that you make you put your drinks in it or you wrap your gum in it, and it's disposable. And so it went from being more valuable than gold to being basically worth very little. And so that's just one example of being able to find more abundance in this world and being able to extract more of it, even though people feel that it's limited.
Yeah, that's very true. What I would like to do is get you to the final questions I had for you. I would like to hop onto Facebook and pick any questions that you have. I have shared this feed on my page, so I will be going there to see if anybody has a question. If you're on Step Up World on the live call and you have a question for Paul, be sure to put that in the chat, and Paul will be right back to answer that for you. Paul, in the meantime, I would like, why don't you take us through your library? Like, what's all that? What are you reading? We would like to read some of the books. Like, what is all that behind you?
You know, I actually did an audit of my bookshelf, and I've read about half of those.
Oh, okay.
I reference about 70 books in my book, and so there's just a handful, or there's like half of them here that I've read. One of the big ones was so you've got Mindset here by Carol Dweck, and that's really one thing that gets into that fixed versus growth mindset, and was really kind of the start of the book and part of our discussion here, where so many people think that they can't achieve more because they have that fixed mindset, and the people that achieve the most or get others to achieve the most are able to tap into a growth mindset. And in the book, she had a graphic that really kind of compared the fixed and the growth mindset, and I get into a similar comparison. I actually have it. I happen to have it printed out here.
Nice.
When I talk about living out the growth mindset, here's what I think, and what comes to mind. So living out the growth mindset is not easy, but it's rewarding in this abundant world. Challenges are not there to provide misery, but to provide opportunities to grow. Choose to confront them the way that David did, the lions and the bears. And that's kind of talking to David of the Old Testament. And before he met Goliath, he had this training ground of lions and bears coming after him. And I'm sure before he had lions and bears coming after him, he was flinging rocks at using a slingshot to take out the nearby boulder, or try to hit a tree, or maybe a rabbit or something for a little snack. And he grew into being able to take care of the lions and the bears. And at that point, he was prepared to basically bring a gun to a knife fight when he faced Goliath. It should have not been something that anyone saw as a big challenge if they're able to take that slingshot and take out the giant that's far away and not going to be able to charge them in time. So I go on to say obstacles are not there to stop you, but to deter those who would challenge you. Overcoming an obstacle provides the path to success. Effort is not some evil plan to torment you, but it's the divine order for life on this earth. Criticism may be sent your way to hurt you, but any nugget of truth is beneficial for your growth. And the success of others should not spark envy, but provide inspiration for your success. There's enough water in the ocean to float everyone's boat.
And is that your quote?
Yep.
I like it. There's enough water for what? I love that quote.
To float everyone's boat.
Wow, that's your quote, right?
Yeah, that's my quote. It's kind of a rework of a quote that I had for someone else in the book. He said that there's enough wind in the harbor to sail everyone's boat, or I forget exactly what it was, but there's getting past the limited mindset and getting into the abundant mindset and the mindset of growth are really important keys to killing complacency and being able to prosper in this world. And once you prosper, then you're able to share that. And it's so hard to share with others and to give if you don't have something to give. And so there shouldn't be anything wrong with achieving something or making a lot of money. They're just wrong ways to make money and things that maybe aren't morally right. But having the money means that you're able to give it. And that's one thing that I really hope for is more people learning how to make money and to be able to give it and to have something that's self-sustaining, because giving into different areas is hard, and it's draining. But if you can give into an area that helps it become self-sufficient, then that grows and continues to provide more for other people.
Wow. The challenging thing or part of mindset is people that have a scarcity mindset don't even know they do. So it's kind of hard because you don't even know you have that problem.
Right.
Yeah, it's really hard because I have met people with like a locked mindset, and I don't know where to begin because they are locked and they don't know. It's good when you fall sick because then you know you need medical attention. But when you're walking around and you have all these limiting beliefs and you have a limited mindset, it is absurd because you don't even know you have that going for you.
Right. And there's so much opportunity
Yeah.
that people just need to chase after it.
Yeah. And like most of opportunity comes and it looks like work, a lot of work.
Right.
It looks like a lot of, like it's just not going to come on a silver plate. And yeah, so every time I deal with someone, like when I am selecting clothing for my male style clients, I will go to a supplier and say, let me have a look at what you have. And he will go, I have this, this, and this. And I say, well, let me look at each of them. Then I can see. Then I'll hold the shirt and I will see 360 degrees before I will say, give me 10 pieces. And he will go, you're too observant. You're not going to wear the shirt. And I'm like, but somebody is going to wear it. And I want to be sure they wear the best piece. And it's like, you want to get money doing that? And I'm like, I sure will. It's like, you are a wholesaler, just buy and give them. And I'm like, no. Says you do too much work for the customer. And I say, yes, because they pay me to do the work. And so it's interesting because when opportunity comes, it looks like work. It looks like investment that has no return. I can imagine you sitting behind your desk and writing for hours and hours to complete the book. And then it looked like something that maybe would never come true. Because I started the book and I said, no, I'm done. I gave it to the ghostwriter. And when it came back, it's like he put it in his mouth and spit it back to me. And there was nothing like me. I said, I'm not writing a book. I'm going to go and possibly do an online course. Because the book came back to me and it was like he put it in his mouth and spit the remainings. I said, this is not my book. You got it and literally put water in it. So it's so much work to do to really have a book out. So Paul, I have one question for you. I'll go back to Facebook. If you're on Facebook and you have a question for Paul, we are almost at the top of the hour. I'd like to take that. If you will be watching the replay, just put #replay and put your question. I'll get Paul to answer that. But for now, we are almost at the top of the hour. So I'll ask Paul for one question and maybe his final remarks. And if we don't have a question, then we'll close it and we'll be able to maybe get to the rewatch, like if you watch the replay, and we'll be able to get the question either way. Paul, I would like you to explain to the audience who you wrote the book for. Who is the person that you wish opens the book and reads it? And tell me about your celebration and your new milestones with getting us a variety of the book and how we can go ahead and order it today.
Right, Prima, I know that most of the world doesn't buy paper books anymore. It's about 80% electronic. And so I've made Killing Complacency available as an ebook. And that way you can download it on Amazon through Kindle. So look up Paul Jacob Huber on Amazon or Killing Complacency. I'm not necessarily right at the top of the list if you look up Paul Huber or Killing Complacency, but it's in the first couple pages. There's a picture right there, so you should be able to find that and download it. You can also go to my website, pauljhuber.com, and there I link to the book on Amazon. I've got at least one offer that's live right now in terms of things that people can get if they sign up for my list. So if you're interested in the one-page Bible study I did that really kind of started the book, that's something that's available for download. So just go there and go through the steps of of requesting that, and it'll get emailed out to you. And so the audience that I'm looking for, it's pretty diverse, and I think part of it is there's at least some American audience. I don't know how well it resonates with your audience, but here in America, there are a lot of people that grew up hearing things like, well, the Bible says that money is the root of all evil. Well, the truth is, the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. And so, in that area and many others, I kind of turn around things where people may be accustomed to hearing things like money is the root of all evil. Well, there are certainly terrible things that people have done in the quest for money, but wanting money and wanting success is not in and of itself evil. They're just evil or bad ways to get money or success. And so if you have that responsible ambition, if you have that drive to achieve more, then that's something that's okay, and that allows you to give to others. And the greatest, most self-sustaining thing that we could hope for is for every part of the world to have that drive, that ambition to do more, to make more, and to not look at it as kind of that fixed mindset or limited mindset, but look at the world through an abundance mindset and say, there's enough for everyone. I'm going to provide value in a way that allows me to feel good about myself, and that helps others, but also makes me money. And being able to do both, but providing value and feeling good and making money, I guess that's three. To do all those things all at once provides that ability to have something that's self-sustaining. That if you have a profit, you can enjoy some of the profit, or you can roll a lot of that profit back into the business to serve even more people, to help more people, to employ more people, to help others, and things like that. And so moving past the limited mindset, moving past the fixed mindset into growth and abundance, I think will help so many in the world. And that's really, I want to help everyone. I'm gonna try to start pretty focused on who I help, so that I can help those that I relate to the most, but then also work my way out from there, because I think so many people need to hear the message that they have that opportunity, that I believe in them, that others around them believe in them. And even if there are some people that will stand in your way, even if there is some competition, there's that opportunity out there, and that ability to be able to provide value, to receive value in return, and to help others by taking the actions you take.
Yeah. Paul, it's very weird, but Europe, America, China, people are the same. Mindsets are the same. There's nothing like, people are people.
Right.
If they have a limited mindset, they have whether you're in the UK, the US, China, wherever, if you have a limited mindset, that's what you have. If you're in the most thriving economy with a limited mindset, you're not thriving yourself. And Fiona asked ways, how do they access the hard copy? I think Fiona is in the UK. We actually have people here in Eastern, in Central, and in European time zones. So where's the hard copy? On Amazon as well?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's available in all of the marketplaces that Amazon serves. And so it's not just the US book. It's something, if Amazon will ship you a book in your area, you can get it. And so I know that at least one person's bought it in Canada. It should be available just pretty much wherever on earth that Amazon serves.
Okay. Would you like to say anything before we say goodbye to the listeners? Because we're at the top of the hour.
All right. Yeah, it's been great talking to you, and great talking to your group. I love the energy, and I hope that others in your group have that energy. And that they move past the limited mindset, they move past the fixed mindset, and they're able to accomplish things that they never imagined. And don't worry about if your purpose doesn't seem as glamorous as an athlete or a movie star or what have you. Your purpose is your purpose, and you may have one purpose today, and if that includes getting me a coffee or mowing my yard or doing something to serve others in your area, then that's okay. Feel good about having a purpose and doing what you can, and then figuring out how to expand on that. And I guess one example I talked a little bit last night to some friends of mine about is the idea of you incorporated and treating yourself as a business. And so figure out what your research and development budget is, what your training budget is, in addition to your housing and transportation, whatever else you have to take care of. And so, you know, do the work and make the most of what you have and figure out how to grow in where you are. And I hope that not just in America, but all around the world, that we're able to do that and to improve what being average means and get to the point where average means really good and not just someone who's settling or complacent.
Oh, Paul, I want to appreciate you for putting in the energy and the time to come. You and I are different energies, but while you like my energy, aggressive energy, I like your laid back, you're calm and very kind and very subtle, and even when you're at the top, you kind of know how to settle and just mix in at the bottom. So I love that you made it. I love that you honored my invite and came and fed on the audience. This is an audience of incredible people that choose to rise up every day in an area of life. Here we have people that want to get ahead of life. We have people that really don't want to become present. And we have people that appreciate knowledge and wisdom and strive to grow every day. So I want to thank you. I want to honor you for coming on and feeding the audience. And most importantly, I want to congratulate you for being an author and for choosing to make a difference in the world.
Thank you. It's been wonderful being here.
Members of Step Up World, as we come to a wrap, I want to thank each and every one of you that has come on to hang out with us. This is our special Saturday live where we come and serve you in an area of life. It's my hope and desire that cumulatively we will have a magnificent impact on who you are from the speakers that we bring on. I'll be right back on Saturday, same place, same time. It's been my pleasure having you today. Have a great day, have a great evening, or a great afternoon, wherever you are. Bye.